Going back and kind of reinvestigating, did you speak with Little C's and Gene Deal about the Biggie case? And if so, did they ever ID anybody for you guys?
So this is one of the complications that we had to deal with during the investigation. There was a civil case against the city of Los Angeles, and Little Cease and Eugene Deal were potential witnesses in that lawsuit. And so we were precluded, because it's considered a conflict of interest, we were precluded from going out and speaking with them, because then they could then claim that we're coercing them or tainting their information, and it could disrupt the harmony of the civil lawsuit. And so this is just typical routine legal stuff that we couldn't go at this point in time and speak to witnesses that were potentially going to be representing the plaintiff in the case. So, but we didn't have a problem anyways, because we had so much of their previous testimony. We had multiple interviews with Eugene Deal and multiple interviews with Little Cease. So we had already preserved everything that they had to say. And even though they may have had more to offer, typically in these investigations, it's that initial information that carries the most weight. It's when things are fresh and when it's back at the time the incident occurred and their memories are more intact. So we had all of that. I could go listen to Little Cease's interviews as much as I wanted. We could go listen to Eugene Deal's interviews as much as we wanted. So not being able to go again and talk to them wasn't that much of a loss, in my opinion.
Okay. Gene Deal, what's the photo that he alleges that he was shown, and this photo that he always is referring to that was shown to him, and then basically he said he never saw it again.
It's a photograph that was taken from one of the video surveillance cameras over at the Peterson Auto Museum. And the type of system that they had was like a multiplex system where there's a bunch of different cameras throughout the property that all are feeding into one basic server, one monitoring area. So you would have, a video screen with like 4 different cameras that are constantly changing. They're just bouncing around to different perspectives, and that gets all kind of looped onto a reel. Well, as the initial investigators went back and they're trying to, identify people and see what they could find from the surveillance video, they find an individual who appears to be very tall. He's standing, he's wearing a suit and bow tie. It's a very, very, very grainy picture. It was such poor quality that there's no way in the world that anybody could look at that photo and identify him as a particular person, unless you actually knew him. Like if you knew this particular person, you could say, yeah, I was at the Peterson, I saw him there, and I believe this is him because of the stature and the appearance of the suit. But nobody could ever look at that photo and say it's of such that the quality is good enough to identify anybody. There's no way you're going to do that. It's very, very poor quality. I think it might be out there. I don't know if it's on the internet or not yet. But that's the only one. That's the only photograph that was preserved from those loops of an individual that met the description that was being provided by several of the witnesses, of a person who was in the parking lot wearing a bow tie and appearing to be dressed in Nation of Islam type of attire. So they collected that. Well, of course, that went into the case files. It was duplicated. It was given to everybody. It was given to Biggie's attorneys during the lawsuit. It's all part of the discovery process. Clearly, if that photograph was of tremendous value, which now they claim in hindsight it was, that would have been the very first thing Russell Poole made sure he took a copy of. Because that would have been the foundation of the entire claim that they later on try to make. This would have been, for all intent and purposes, the way that they portray it, the smoking gun. Well, Russell Poole never took it because other people are saying that they got copies of all of his information. Or I'm sorry, copies of everything that he took with him when he left the department. Well, that would have been the most valuable document there. But how come it doesn't? How come nobody has it? How come? Oh, and furthermore, and not to convolute this too much, but in our murder books we have what's called a chronological log. It's where the detectives keep track. It's like a journal. Keep track of everything they do in the case. On this date and time, responded to the crime scene. At this date and time, went to the morgue. On this date and time, we went and went to the interviewed this person. At this date and time, we collected it. Whatever. It's just an ongoing journal. It's dozens and dozens of pages long. Well, in that, there is a very specific time period where the FBI is meeting with the LAPD. In particular, Detective Stephen Katz, and in particular, Special Agent Phil Carson. And it clearly says, it's just right there in black and white, we gave Phil Carson a copy of this photograph in question. So it's preserved in the in the original log of the thing that this photograph was distributed. So for them to say now that, oh, it disappeared, we went there and we saw it, and then we went back and it disappeared, that's bullshit. You can prove otherwise because it's documented, preserved, that photograph was given to them. And even if it wasn't, Russell Poole most assuredly would have had it, and their claim is that they got all of Russell Poole's records. So it's just hindsight trying to manipulate information in order to serve this narrative that they continue to try to espouse. But it's all disprovable. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yep, makes sense.
It's a lot of information, but I think it's sometimes you have to go through the minutia to understand the bigger picture.
Do you think Gene Deal has a problem with you based on the way he constantly discusses you? And if so, do you have any idea what that stems from?
No, I have no idea. Other than, obviously they want to stay relevant and engaged in the conversation because there's an insatiable appetite for information on these murders from the public. The public will just drink this stuff up for the next 25 years. And so you've got to come up with new information. You've got to come up with new things. And so you just keep exaggerating things and build your little following of people and hope to keep them entertained by telling stories. And, fine, if that's what he wants to do, do it. I don't give a shit. I feel bad that the legacies of Tupac and Biggie are being muddied up in these conspiracy theories because the truth is very clear and the truth is very obvious if you know the nature of these investigations and what took place. It's actually relatively simple. It's just some bullshit gang activity. And like many of the gangs in Los Angeles, commit murders and they go unsolved. This one was difficult. This is just a drive-by shooting, both of them. And, now in hindsight, we can see clearly what happened, but it wasn't clear for many years. I think Eugene Deal just wants to have a platform, and if taking shots at me serves his purpose, it's no skin off my back. It's not like I am affected by any of this. Life goes on, and I just would suggest for the rest of these guys, let life go on. Find something to do with your time that isn't so narcissistic.